Hi, Steve Addison here for the Movements Podcast, a podcast for people who want to multiply disciples and churches everywhere. There are about 500 million Spanish speakers around the world. Today we're going to talk to Oggie Martin about no place left in the Latino world.
For 23 years, I didn't care about the gospel. So when I moved to America, somebody invited me to a church. So I went to a church. I received Jesus, and suddenly, my life changed. Something that I didn't want to change because I was good with my friends. Suddenly, I want to change and start sharing my faith. What happened to me. So since the beginning, people would say, like, you're an evangelist. And I didn't even know what it meant to be an evangelist. So I look at the evangelist and I say, okay, this is how it's going to look, big stadiums and all that. But God, from the beginning, said to me, like, what if you teach others to do the same? And I said, well, that's a good idea, God. But I didn't know how to do it. So I spent more than 10 years going out in the streets, sharing the gospel, taking groups with me. And in the end, it was all about me because I couldn't reproduce myself. I didn't know how to tell others to do the same until like a year and a half ago that I was sharing in a pastor meeting, what God was doing in the street. And a friend named Scott told me, can I show you something? So I said, yes. So he showed me a strategy, how to enter an empty field, how to evangelize, disciple, plant churches, and multiply leaders. And I said, like, whoa, I don't know how to disciple. I can do the rest. I can do like some of the things like share the gospel, not how to disciple. So a week later, I was in a 4 days, discipleship class. So I realized, and that thing, it was a lot of information, but I realized two things, that I wasn't the only one that I want to reach the whole world, because for a long time I thought, I'm the only one because everybody want to reach around the church only. And I just want to reach them all. How am I going to do that? And then I met a bunch of people crazy like me, because I thought, okay, this is like too much. How come I have the heart to reach everyone? And then the other thing was that I didn't have any disciples because I didn't know how to multiply myself into others. So I started learning how to pass it on to others in a biblical, easy, and reproducible way. So a year and a half ago was the first time that I encountered a bunch of crazy missionaries in South Florida that taught me how to do this. And I've been blessed since then.
So what the impact of the training and meeting Scott was you got the big picture, not just evangelism, but multiplying movements of disciples and churches. You got the skills of how to make it happen, and you also connected with other crazy people just like you. Yeah. So that was a key part of the whole journey for you.
Yes.
What happened next, Oggie?
Oh, next, so my friend Troy Cooper, that
I've met him.
We got invited. He was one of the crazy guys there in South Florida, where I've been living like for 14 years now. And he got invited. We have invited to Mexico. But he said, like, I don't speak Spanish, so you have to do it. I said, like, whoa, I don't know how to do this. But I said, okay, I'll go. So the first time that I trained, he helped me, in the questions that I have while I was there. He was holding the ball and telling me, you do this next. But I did it, and I was so busy that it was the first time that I couldn't go on the streets with the team. I love to go on the streets and share the gospel. That's my passion. But I couldn't go because I was busy making the signs and making everything. And so I tell them, okay, you guys go without me. First time ever. And they came back 30, 45 minutes later, and 30 families came to Christ in that time. So when I saw that, I said, like, okay, that's it. That's what I want to do. I want to reproduce myself into others because it's more effective to teach others, and we'll be a lot more. And since then...
Wait a minute, Oggie. Let's just back up. Did you say 30 families came to Christ?
Yeah, 30 complete families came to Christ. I was telling, the pastor there, I said, you guys are praying for people to come to the church, but I think that they were praying for you guys to get out of the church and tell them, because it was amazing. It was amazing what happened the first time that I trained in Mexico.
And that happened in under 1 hour. You trained some Mexicans, and in 1 hour they went visiting homes and led 30 families to Christ.
Yeah, all the families around the church, in the neighborhood, everybody was ready, waiting for the gospel to be.
And what happened next for those families? What did you train the Mexicans to do?
Yes, I stayed 10 days after the training, and I modeled how to disciple them in an easy way. So I spent time, training. I trained a few other churches, but the key here it was that not only I trained myself the first time only, but then I have some leaders from the church that helped me train the other time that I trained. So by the time I left, not only they have the experience to train, to share the gospel, to disciple others, to meet in houses. So it was amazing. They got equipped in 10 days how to do the whole work, the whole 4 fields, system.
Okay. And is that work continuing in Mexico with the people you trained?
It does continue somehow. Not everybody is getting discipled, but, some people are getting discipled. So that was my first experience. The follow-up wasn't great with me doing it after I read Paul's journeys. Paul will follow up all the time. So since then, actually today I talked to the pastor there, and she want to receive more training. She want to see what's the mid-level all about, the Bible basic basis on what we're doing. And so it's doing great, but not only Mexico. Last week, I don't know if you want me to tell you about last week, what happened in Colombia.
Yeah, tell us about last week. We can jump around.
Yeah. So last week was Colombia. It was a mid-level training, and people are getting so excited after the mid-level because they see it that now it's not that me telling them, some tools to share the gospel, but they see it in the Bible. They see how Paul was doing it, how Jesus was doing it. So they get super excited, and we were able to train some people from Venezuela that came 3 days in a bus to receive the mid-level. So now God opened a huge door for Venezuela to train more than 1,000 people in April, and they're excited. They're planting churches. Colombia planting churches. Like 2 months ago, I was able to train in Bolivia, 21 countries, from Chile, Paraguay, Mexico, Panama, everywhere. So they went back and they start planting churches. So I'm meeting every week now by Zoom and coaching them, and they're doing amazing. Sort of in this last year or less, say I went 7 months ago to Peru the first time, and a month ago we went back, and more than 300 new churches were planted in Peru only. So total of this year and a half, it's about 500 churches, new churches started since I started. My blessing that I'm not. Yes, definitely. I didn't count it, but 300 in Peru, we know that. But the rest, I having text messages. We planted 2 churches last week, another 2 churches, another 3 churches. So they're multiplying fast.
Now,
the blessing is,
yeah.
We
we did jump around from. So yes. Mexico was a real step in your development because Troy took you. You went down with him, and he equipped you and positioned you to train in Spanish. and obviously God blessed it. So what happened next? Obviously, it sounds like all sorts of other locations started opening up for you to go and train.
Yeah, it right away opened an organization called Christian Surfers. They call us to go and train in Costa Rica. So we trained in Costa Rica, and then they found out Christian Surfer about Mexico. In Mexico that we were doing the training, so went to Mexico, did another training with Christian Surfers, end up moving, like going a month in Mexico with Christian Surfers, and by the end of the whole month, I went with my family. We count like 30 plus churches started there. So it was huge, people on fire, brand new people. Like, I'm going to tell you a story. This lady, we would knock at the door, and she said, like, okay, come on in. And she said, like, I don't know why I let you in, guys. I never let anybody in, but, you can come in. So she got a tattoo, a python, like, all the way around, and the head was right here in the neck, right, tattooed. And so she received Jesus. We prayed for her. She said, like, I don't know, it seems like God sent you. She didn't know about God, but she said that. And then we shared about baptism, and she said, like, wait a minute, somebody sent me a video about baptism. And you guys, what's this is kind of weird. So she got baptized in a small swimming pool, kids swimming pool, right there immediately. And after that, we started meeting twice or 3 times a week sometime. And she said, I can't keep it to myself. I need to share this with my family and my friends. So we started going around with her, sharing the gospel with everybody that she knew. So that was an amazing story, from like life, like super lost life, to on fire for Jesus in a week. So that was amazing.
And you're seeing this pattern across multiple countries in Latin America.
Yes.
So
like I was telling you in Colombia, yeah.
Oggie, you go in as a catalyst and train and mobilize churches, ordinary believers, and immediately they're seeing not just new believers, but they're seeing churches formed in the community.
Yes.
Okay. What do those churches look like? I realize it's across a whole lot of countries, but have you got a sort of a typically this is the feel and the look of one of these new churches when they start in a neighborhood?
Yeah, we knock on the doors. Like another example in Peru, we knock at the door, and there was one guy there, and we shared the gospel. Immediately, we shared the 411. It's a training that we identified him like as a son of God, and he got a purpose now to tell others. So, and then we told him, okay, who's around you that you can share with? And so he identified the people. So next day we went again, and by the time we got there, not only him, but 5 more people were there from the family ready to be discipled. So we took it to the place where we have a little pool, and we baptized the whole family. And that's where a church started. 6 people, the family members, and the same guy was sharing the gospel with the neighbor right there. So it's like a neighborhood church, like starting in houses and spread as they reach the people that they know, the new people. They know some people, so they start sharing the gospel, and they get together as a church and start growing, learning, obeying Jesus.
So right from the beginning, if someone turns and believes, using that 411 training, you're training them to reach their friends and family and their neighborhood, and then gather people for church. So what do they do when they gather? What does church look like when that neighborhood group forms?
Yeah, the church is pretty active, intentional on reaching the people that they don't know Jesus. So from the beginning, we ask them, how they doing, like a normal church. But there is 2 or 3 key components in this church. Not only we have worship, we have communion, but we ask them, what do they do? What do they do with the last class? Did they obey the last class? Did they share the gospel? Did they train somebody else with this? So it's very, very intentional from the beginning. It's like, this is not about, just a Bible study or a fellowship that you're going to make friends. It's going to be intentional to reach the people, to tell everybody about Jesus. Because that's our heart, to reach the lost. And that's how we intended to be this training. We don't, we're nice with the people, but you can be all your life nice and you end up with other people like they don't want to obey Jesus. So by doing this, God keep the people that want to, represent Him well, and we equip them, and they do amazing things. God wants us to obey. Obedience is better than sacrifice.
And so now your role is you're opening up these different countries to the training, you're mobilizing, they're doing evangelism, church planting, and you're saying now a lot of your time you're returning to those places for mid-level training, the next level of training, and you're coaching. And you're doing this all from a base in Florida. Yes.
I see how they're doing, and if they're multiplying, they're working, I go back, do the mid-level, encourage them, and then I'm coaching through Skype or Zoom. But the thing is, like, it's not about my role. I see that is, I was the first one, kind of the first one that when I quit, but now there is a bunch of people. There is like hundreds of trainers that can do the same as me. So they don't ask me. They just go. Like one of the guys from Peru, he went to Brazil, and he spent a month in Brazil training a lot of people in Rio, everywhere. The guy from Colombia, they went to Venezuela and trained a team in Venezuela. So this is spreading. This is not only about me. It's about a lot of trainers. It's a big team now. It becomes like hundreds of people in the same team.
And they're beginning to connect with each other. So it's not all flowing back to you, but there are relationships and partnerships forming between the different countries.
Yes. One of the guys in Colombia, he told me, I'm going to go to Peru. And I said, where are you going? So I'm going to Pucallpa. Oh, I have a team member there. So they met and they trained together in another church. And then it's happening all over. People calling me now, and if I know that they're like in Bogota, I connected to the team in Bogota. If they're in Quito, in Ecuador, I connected to the team in Ecuador. So this is never been about me. It's about Jesus doing it. So I just, who's going to be more effective? The people that are in the country that have the heart for the people in the country. So I'm connecting. I just do a lot of connections right now too.
And Oggie, this sort of stage in your life and your ministry began just 18 months ago.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I've got a feeling, though, there was a long preparation in your life that the Lord was doing to see this sort of fruit.
Amen. I feel like Paul, 14 years in Galatia, waiting.
What's he teaching you about your role then? Because it's rapidly developed since that first trip to Mexico. So what are you learning now as this takes off and there are multiple fires burning in different countries? What are you learning?
I'm learning about my role is to take the vision to the local people, training as much as I can, help them get into a team church, a group of people with the same heart, and equip them so they can do the same. They can roll the mid-level, the 4 days training, everything. And then I think that's it. When I see that happening, it's my time to move and start another country, start another place. When I trained in Bolivia, I took one guy with me from Peru, another guy from Colombia to help me. So the guys in Cuba that I train, they're crazy to get out of Cuba and help me train in different countries. So people are being equipped. And when I train with somebody, I think that they empower them and they learn. So when they come back, they're one of the most effective people when they come and train with me, and then something changed, that they go back to the country and they're the most fruitful people.
So what Troy did for you, you're doing for others. You're actually finding, I imagine a lot of these people, just like you, God had already prepared for this breakthrough. And you're bringing the training, you're showing them how to do it, helping them do it, launching them. But then you're coaching, you're doing trips back, you're connecting them with one another, you're taking them on your trips. And it sounds like your role now is, you're growing people all over Latin America.
Yes. Like you said, Troy modeled all this to me, and it was a super fast release of like you do it now, and it was good for me. So it encouraged me to do it, and even I wasn't sure, and that's what I do with my guys right away. It's like, you can do it. I encourage them, help them through modeling first, and then I assist, see if they're doing okay. I watch how they do it. If they're doing it right, I said, like, you got it. And it's just, they do it. So, I really, Troy modeled to me an excellent way to make disciples. So that's what I'm doing. Even the Zoom call that I'm doing every week, I got it from Troy. He started doing that. So I said, like, okay, this is good, because it gets like people united for the same goal, the same idea, encourage each other. And I said, I need to do this too with my team. So I started, I see what it works and I apply. And Troy has been an awesome example in my life how to do this. Definitely.
Well, Oggie, where's this going? What has God put on your heart? What's the dream He's given you?
My dream and the vision that He gave me is to reach 500 million Spanish-speaking people in the world that are lost. And when He told me that, I said, God, I don't know how am I going to do it, but I'm going to go one step at a time. And it's overwhelming to see God that doing it, a step at a time, but He's raising these leaders in Peru, and then Colombia, and then open doors in Cuba, and then different countries. And I said, like, God really want to do this. So I'm excited. So the idea on all this is, in the end, is to raise leaders, to reach that everybody hear the gospel in Latin America and also in Spain. And when we raise leaders, we have to fulfill the Great Commission. We have to be sending to India, South Asia, all these places that definitely the Spanish people, I think they're key because of the look. They can go, they won't be recognized as Spanish until they speak. But if not, they're going to be super effective down there to finish the Great Commission. So that's the final goal, to equip people and start sending it to get the job done.
So it's a heart for 500 million Spanish speakers, but then as God reaches them, you want to see them go to the nations.
Yes.
And the strategy that's rolling out here is and now your growing team, you open up and pioneer new countries, but you're looking for the insiders who you can train and mobilize. So, you can't reach 500 million, can you? But
no.
But you have a strategy now that you want to find the people, the city leaders, the national leaders who will get that job done.
Yes.
Wow.
And the awesome thing that when God showed me those people, they're already doing it. Plus, there is no financial help so far. So they're doing it by heart. This movement is all really organic. And I didn't tell somebody to, go to Brazil, go to Venezuela, sacrifice everything you have for the gospel. Guys put in front of me those people that are really to give their life to Jesus. And that's how this is working, just God moving, the Holy Spirit organizing everything and moving us to do His will. So it's amazing for me to see, these people. I see people like the Venezuela 3 days in a bus to get to Colombia. It's like, oh, these guys are serious about, being trained. And then, more stories like that, like people sacrificing everything and spending all the money they have to meet, to get in meetings, to train others. And so it's amazing to see that it costs zero, this movement. And this is just the beginning, Steve. I can't imagine what's going to happen in the next 3 to 6 months. This is going to double and even more. So I have a big expectation for the people because they're ready. They're ready. The lost are more than ready to receive. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I was in Colombia and we said like 30 minutes. We have 30 minutes only to go evangelize after one training. They came back. 42 people give their life to Jesus. 30 houses open. I said, like, we want discipleship. We want more. So 30 houses in 30 minutes. So tell me if they're not ready for the gospel.
Well, if you've enjoyed this interview, why don't you pass on the good news, especially to people with a Spanish-speaking background. I'm Steve Addison for the Movements Podcast.